Week 43, October 27, 1967. Within the tide of dissenters swarmed all the elements of American dissent in 1967, hard-eyed revolutionaries and skylarking hippies, ersatz motorcycle gangs and all-too-real college professors, housewives, ministers and authors, black nationalists in African garb but no real African nationalists, nonviolent pacifists and non-Pacific advocates of violence, some of them anti-warriors, and American Nazis spoiling for a fight, Time noted in a cover story on the protests. So it was unsurprising, in a way, that while the American mainstream recoiled from the more extreme views expressed at the protest, the general feeling that there was something worth protesting was widespread. Though some potential attendees had backed out over concern that the mood of the demonstration was tilting toward general anti-Americanism, the umbrella group organizing the event, the National Mobilization Committee to End the War in Vietnam, had specifically attempted to reconcile plans for civil disobedience with more moderate notions of a legal rally. Amid all the marching and arguing over principles, however, it was one of the more outre moments of the day that would end up becoming the first thing mentioned in the story and the primary thing remembered by much of history, the attempt to levitate the Pentagon. In fact, the hippies who staged that bit of political theater had received an official, if tongue-in-cheek, permit from the government, Time reported, to raise the building as much as 10 feet off the ground. The Pentagon stayed on the ground and, at least in Time's view, the American values embodied by the protesters stayed intact. For all the sound and fury, the anti-war spectaculars were a remarkable if little noted tribute to the vitality and viability of American society. Through all the weeks of negotiations between the manipulators of dissent and the federal establishment over permits to demonstrate and the designation of parade routes, the U.S. government never once challenged the marchers' right to present themselves and their case in Washington. Get your history fix in one place. Sign up for the weekly Time History newsletter Spy Story. In a story seemingly ripped right from the pages of a John L. Le Carre novel, the World News section reported that a high-ranking KGB official who had posed as a jukebox salesman to operate multiple spy rings had defected, contacting the CIA in West Berlin to ask for asylum and offer up his knowledge. While U.S. intelligence would ordinarily trumpet such a victory, they'd kept it quiet for a surprising reason: bitterness that West Germany had stolen the honor of breaking the news. A borrower B. This tidbit from the People section is worth clicking through for the photo. The pianist Van Cliburn, who was 6'4", had lost his luggage just before a concert in Washington, D.C., and it was too late to rent a tux. Desperate to find a tall enough man in possession of a suitably formal tailcoat, he landed in the natural place, the White House, where he borrowed a suit from President Johnson. Rave review: Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead has since become a theatrical classic, and Times reviewer wouldn't be surprised to hear so, as the play earned high praise for its Broadway opening. It is one of those rare plays able to open worlds of art, life and death, the critic wrote. The sun of this drama is coruscating wit and laughter, its shade is melancholy death. Broadway may not see a more auspicious playwriting debut this season. Great vintage ad, quite an argument for buying a fancy camera. Trouble is, the best things in life are either illegal, immoral, fattening or cost $160. Coming up next week, Buckley's conservatism.